When many musicians are first introduced to jazz, they are given a pentatonic scale as a jumping-off point for simple improvisation. And many rock and pop musicians rely heavily on pentatonics as a way to create strong melodies and simplify improvisation down to a set of comfortable notes. As jazz improvisers, as we develop and learn more about harmony, we can take pentatonic scales a step further to use in a wide variety of musical and harmonic situations. Pentatonic scales, as their name suggests, are 5-note scales. There are many varieties of pentatonic scales, but when most people refer to a generic pentatonic scale, they are referring to either a minor or a major pentatonic. The major pentatonic scale includes the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 of any given key, whereas the minor pentatonic scale includes the 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and flat 7 of any given key. What you may notice is that any major pentatonic includes the same notes as a minor pentatonic of the relative minor. So C major pentatonic has the same notes as A minor pentatonic. For our purposes, we can refer to them interchangeably, but may find it easier to call them one or the other depending on the situation. For the purposes of this video, we'll be using 3 different kinds of pentatonic scales. There's really an endless variety of pentatonics, but I chose these 3 because between the 3 of them, you can handle most any harmonic situation. To start with, we have our usual major-minor pentatonic, which again is made up of the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, or if we're thinking of it from the relative minor, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and flat 7. Next, we have the minor 7 flat 5 pentatonic, which again could be known as a minor 6 pentatonic from a different root. So that is made up of the 1, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 7, or 1, 2, flat 3, 5, and 6, depending on what you're considering your root. This is a scale that's really great for tonic minor situations. And finally, we have a major flat 6 pentatonic, which is made up of the 1, 2, 3, 5, flat 6. This is great for more contemporary sounds, more upper structure-y sounds that we can get over different kinds of chords. Most budding jazz improvisers use a pentatonic scale of the key they are in order to simplify improvisation. But for seasoned jazz musicians, pentatonic scales are a great way to limit the notes we use over a given chord to a set that strongly outline or imply harmony and create more meaningful and intervallic melodies. By using a pentatonic scale not based on the root of a chord, we can often get a group of very colorful tones full of interesting chord extensions. Let's take just one scale, A minor pentatonic, and see how it interacts with a variety of chord types. I'm ordering these chords in order from least colorful to most colorful usage of A minor pentatonic. So if we're using A minor pentatonic off the root of a chord, so this would be like using A minor pentatonic over A minor 7, we get the 1, flat 3, 11, 5, flat 7. Perfectly reasonable, but not very colorful. If we use it over a C6 or a C major 7 chord, we're going to get the 6, 1, 9, 3, and 5. If we use it over an F major 7 chord, so off the 3, we're going to get the 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, starting to build up some color now. If we use it off the 5 of a minor 7 chord, so this would be like over a D minor 7, we get the 5, flat 7, 1, 9, and 11. If we use it over the major 7 of a major 7th chord, we'll get the, so there's a B flat major 7 chord, we'll get the major 7, 9, 3, sharp 11, and 13. If we're doing it off the 9, so this would be like a G minor 7 chord, we'll get the 9, 11, 5, 13, and 1. And finally, if we use it over an altered chord off the sharp 9, so this would be a G flat 7 altered, we'll get the sharp 9, sharp 11, flat 13, flat 7, and flat 9. As a little added bonus, if you were to keep this scale and kind of alternate through all these chords, you get kind of an instant lo-fi type sound. Here we can see how a single pentatonic scale can represent many different sounds and colors over many different chord types. As we add other pentatonic scales, we can expand the harmonies we can imply to even more chord types. If you're interested in learning about these relationships, I have a primer available for purchase on my website, including all 3 of these pentatonic scales in 12 keys and the corresponding chords each scale is usable over. I also have an additional PDF with all of the studies from today's video. Link is in the description below. Now that we know something about pentatonic scales and why we use them, we could start practicing them. We can practice them in many different ways, but I would recommend first practicing them as scales up and down in the full range of your instrument. Secondly, practicing them as patterns. And third, practicing them in skips and steps. This exercise can be done in 4 ways: up, up, down, down, up, down, and down, up. Once we know something about these scales and patterns, we can try to implement them over common chord progressions. Here's an example of using one of these patterns through a 2-5-1 with an altered 5 chord. Here we're using the minor pentatonic off the root for the 2 chord, a minor third above for the 5 altered, and off the 3 for the 1 major 7. We repeat the pattern starting on all degrees of the pentatonic scale. As a way of illustrating all 3 of these scales we've talked about and how they sound, this is 3 choruses of blues in F using these pentatonics as either scales or patterns. The first chorus uses major or minor pentatonics. The second uses minor 7 flat 5 or minor 6 pentatonics. And the third uses major flat 6 pentatonics. Notice the difference in chord types and sounds that we get from each pentatonic scale. One great way to use pentatonic scales over modal songs is switching between multiple pentatonics over a single chord in order to create harmonic and melodic interest, as well as tension and release. For instance, over a D Dorian vamp, we can use the D minor, E minor, and A minor pentatonics, as well as C minor pentatonic if we want to suggest an altered 5 chord. So that'd be like A7 altered over the D minor 7. This is an example of an improvisation going through multiple pentatonic scales over the chords to John Coltrane's Impressions. These pentatonic scales sound very at home being used over more modern jazz songs. This is an example exercise of patterns running through the chords to Joe Henderson's Inner Urge. One of the more interesting and challenging parts of this song is the ending, where major 7th chords move in a pattern of down a minor third, up a half step. With pentatonic scales, a very interesting way to move through this part of the song is we can use minor pentatonics descending in half steps, starting from C sharp minor. This can create for more interesting melodic relationships, as well as being a little bit more conceptually comfortable for an improviser. Of course, these pentatonic scales are also very useful over more traditional jazz standards. Here is one last example of a mixed pentatonic scale improvisation over the chord progression to You Stepped Out of a Dream. What I like the most about studying pentatonics isn't just the scales themselves or the sounds that they offer, but the line of thinking that they encourage. Being able to consider sets of notes and how they interact with underlying harmonies is a valuable skill for an improviser and musician to have if they want to be able to create interesting and unique melodies. For that reason, when you are studying these pentatonics, don't just think about what scale works over what chord, but also the relationship between the notes of that scale and the underlying chord. This will open you up to other possibilities in the future as you begin to see these harmonic melodic relationships. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. All of the materials used today, as well as in my previous 2 videos, are available for purchase on my website, link in the description below. Please drop a like and subscribe so you can see any new videos I have in the works, or you can watch my previous 2 on bebop scales and jazz cliches. Happy practicing.